Welcome to Backstage with Kennedy. This little show will be your remedy. From Toronto, spanning across the sea. Cool people, lots of laughs. This is your favorite podcast.
Hello and welcome. My name is Kennedy from the Backstage with Kennedy podcast. I have an excellent guest today, the very talented, very kind, lovely Emily Bones from the Anti-Queens. How you doing today, Emily?
I'm good. A little sleepy. How are you?
Good. How have you been getting through quarantine the last couple months? I mean, obviously it's been a change for everybody, and trying to figure out, I guess, like how to live happily through all this is probably tough for pretty much everybody. How have you been coping?
I think the key is just like trying to stay busy because everything that we had planned for like over a year just got shut down completely. So we were just like with the band, we were just thinking of ways that we can stay active without, going to play shows, which is where all the money is at and where all the fun is at, but try to make do. So we just did a lot of like online stuff. Been learning how to like cook, and like I've been doing coloring books a lot, and like I just started getting into plants.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like songwriting. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like staying busy through creative stuff for musicians, for anybody who does creative things, is like so important. Yeah, I was seeing that you were doing a lot of stuff, like you were doing solo songs. You did an Amy Winehouse cover recently, and that was awesome. Is this going to be like not to say a new thing because you were always kind of doing it, but are you going to kind of put some more emphasis on like your solo stuff as well in the next little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Before quarantine happened, my friend Cody and I were working on doing like a little EP together. And then, yeah, suddenly, we weren't able to like physically work together in the same room. So then, I don't know, like a month or two went by and I was like, okay, like I got, I always forget what these are called. You plug the instruments into them. Oh my God, whatever. Interface. That's it. I literally always forget the name for that. I don't know why. I'm like a voice memo, like iPhone kind of person. Like I'm not used to this stuff. But anyway, got an interface. Now I'm able to do a lot more like good sounding recordings at home. So yeah, we put that cover together, and now we're still working on past stuff we started before, but now we can do it remotely, which is kind of easier.
Cool. I know Alejandro's been kind of Alejandro of the Creepshow, for those who don't know. I know he's been probably stepping up his camera skills as of late. He's been shooting music videos and stuff with, I mean, when Crusty's not there, someone's got to step up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like super spur of the moment. Like if we're here, like, because neither of us are really working right now. So I'll be like, oh, we should just go record a video for this really quick. Come on. I drag him outside and go to like the backyard.
So the Anti-Queens just announced a new album. Can you tell the people a little bit about that? Are you allowed to do that?
I think so. Like these are plans that we kind of came up together, just hoping that the timeline will line up, but sometimes shit happens, so you end up releasing music later than what you originally planned for. But we're working on demos right now. We've written like, I don't even know, like 20 songs maybe. Oh. And now we're just like finishing the demos and hoping to find a producer. And then we're aiming to go in the studio for like mid-September.
Okay.
Hopefully we have our shit together by then.
I'm sure you will. You're very hardworking. The whole team of yes. So I don't see that being too much of a problem. So I know that I think it was, I want to say it was like probably January. When you played at Horseshoe Tavern. I was at that show, and I know that was Dallas's last show.
Yeah.
I know Samantha's obviously an extremely talented drummer, but she does come from a metal background. Is your music going to start to get more technical on the drums and stuff like that? Or what's going to happen with the creative sound that you guys are going with due to a new drummer?
That's a really good question. I don't know, like every musician has their own style that makes them kind of unique, you know. So I think she's just gonna bring whatever the song itself sounds. You know,
Yeah.
she's like mostly metal influence, and that's like I guess her like go-to style. But I think she said before in the past, and like when she joined the band originally, she was excited to experiment with different types of music and different types of sounds. You know, like and get out of like the metal zone and do some punk rock and roll, like poppy,
Yeah.
three-part harmonies, weird stuff. Like we're really weird, so I think she fits in really well.
I'm glad that she is making that kind of passover and being able to try different things. Because yeah, I mean, once you stop learning new things, you're kind of in trouble, right? You grow by learning new things. So yeah, that's awesome. So I'm not too familiar with like early anti-queens. How did you start? How did the band start?
We started in about like 2013, and
Mhm.
I'm the founding member, so I'm the only remaining original member. But like, we've switched up the lineup a bunch of times, and um, yeah, it's mostly just about finding the right people that all want the same things and have the same goals, and we get along um, musically as well as like we can be together and for hours at a time in a van or on a plane or whatever. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's what led us here after, I don't know, 2013. How long is that? 6 years?
7 years, six
Six,
years?
seven
I don't
years? Yeah,
know the
it
math.
doesn't
So
feel like that long, especially since the first two EPs that we did as a band, um, they were just EPs. Like they were like 5, 6 songs long. So finally, when we got signed to Stomp, we were able to do a full length finally. So I kind of consider that like our first album in a sense because it's the first full length. So
was there anybody who like really helped the band with like guidance and stuff like that? I know like oh shoot. um Chuck Coles, who I know you're familiar with. Chuck was a big influence and mentor for me
yeah.
when I was making music myself. And kind of
Uh-huh.
just guided me along there. But has there been anybody who's done that for the Anti Queens and done that for you specifically even?
Um, there's so many people. Oh my God, I feel like very fortunate to have known and like get to work with people that I admire and like who are so like helpful, I guess. Uh, but I mean, I only met Chuck a couple years ago, but since then too, yeah, he's been like very supportive of the band, and the whole Creepshow gang is awesome. Sean's always been super nice. Like they took us out to Europe for the first time ever, so um, that, and then I'd say like musically, I didn't have a lot of experience like in a recording studio before I did like the first EP in 2013 with Ian Blackwood, and I feel like he taught me so much that I use to this day, and that if he didn't teach me, I don't really know where I would be or like what I would be doing or if I'd be as good of a songwriter as I am now. Like I feel like I've grown a lot since then, and the things that he's taught me just about like guitar tone, like we have this inside joke when we first got together. He was like, "So we played a song or something, and then at the end he goes, "So how do you feel about your guitar tone?" I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what is tone?" And he's like, "Okay, so I'm gonna sit you down and then like show you what a good guitar uh, tone sounds like." And it was just like,
Yeah, I think if you meet a good engineer, they will take your knowledge from like this much to like this much.
yeah,
Like even just having conversations with engineers. I got a couple of friends who are engineers, and it's like a whole new world to me. Like
yeah,
and I was in hip hop, so I had to spend a lot of time learning that kind of stuff, but I never really understood it fully. And that's what they really will push
yeah.
down your throat a little bit.
Yeah,
So
that's what I love about having a producer. It's really good to have that like outside look on the music you're writing. It's hard to like step out of the box if you're in the band and you're all just like, all right, this sounds great, and then he comes in like, just let's rearrange the whole thing, and you're like, holy shit, I never thought it would sound like this amazing. It's crazy. It's like magic.
so what was your influences personally growing up? Like were you more of like a singer-songwriter before, or were you always like super into punk growing up?
Uh, Kind of a mix. Like I was a weird kid. I liked like Broadway musicals a lot, and like um, then I was listening to like top 40 like crap, uh, like Britney Spears, that kind of stuff. My mom was just like, no. I remember she put on The Edge, and then I started listening to like Green Day and like The Clash and the Ramones, and started getting into punk. And she also raised me on Hole and Courtney Love. Like I remember we had Celebrity Skin, and like when I was a kid, I'd like dance around in my bedroom singing Celebrity Skin. Um, but yeah, I think like I got into it at a pretty early age and have carried it with me ever since.
But there's been a lot of different influences and different like genres, I guess, that have really created this Emily Bones sound that we're talking about at the end of the day. And I
Yeah,
mean, you do have like that grungy voice sometimes, but you also have that voice that can almost be thought of as like a pop punk voice. So it's kind of cool that you say like things like Britney Spears and stuff like that, because I mean, not a lot of people would think of you like that listening to your music, but I mean, there is that influence like ever
yeah.
so slightly. I can hear that. I can hear that for sure.
I
So
love
what
pop music. Like, I don't know. I never really saw it as a bad thing. Like, if you're writing pop, because that just, it's short for popular. So, it's gotta, they make so much money and they get so much radio play off of pop music. It's like, it
what
is
was
important.
that? Yeah. What was touring in Europe like? What was I know that you went with the Creepshow, and I'm sure that was a time because like those guys are a blast. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've partied with them in Toronto and I've hung out with them all plenty of times, but I can't imagine a trip to Europe with them. What was that like? What was it like over there for your first time?
It was like a lot. We were very spoiled on that tour because we got to be on a tour bus and like
Mhm.
um Europe, over in Europe and Germany especially, they like are so good to the musicians that come over there. Like they'll provide you like a snack and then like mid snack and then dinner and then dessert and then like unlimited beers. So it was like I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And then just being able to like play a show, party after, get on the bus, still drunk, hang out with the creep show, go to
Mhm.
sleep, wake up at the venue, and then just do it all over again for like 2.5 weeks. So it was like the best 2.5 weeks of my life.
I'm sure, and I know the Creepshow have a big reception there, so you're probably playing in front of some pretty decent sized crowds too. I mean, not that the crowd really matters because at the end of the day, a true musician's not like, oh, big crowd. It's great.
Yeah,
They'll love any crowd. It's just
yeah.
a nice little
There were
bonus.
some nights, but we're like, then you look at it, you're like, okay, I'm on a bus in Europe, like with the Creep Show, who's a band that I like, kind of. I was gonna say grew up listening to, but that sounds weird. I listened to them in high school. They were like an influence to me in high
Yeah.
school, and then like now I'm in Europe with them. Like, okay, cool.
And you and Kenda are pretty tight, aren't you?
I love Kenda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I missed her
she's
though.
very
She moved
tight
all
too.
the way up to Muskoka. So
Hmm. Yeah, I saw you doing those acoustic sets with her throughout quarantine, and I thought that was pretty cool because
yeah,
you're both like powerhouses in the punk scene, the Toronto punk scene, and I mean, like some of the best female punk singers I've ever heard. So like, I love it. I love
yeah,
it.
she's amazing. I love her.
So I know that you've created this friendship with Mathieu Gagne. Um, how is it having somebody that you work like that you're associated with, like with a record label, and having that kind of relationship? Because it's not like any relationship with a label, somebody like a label exec, I guess, and
Hmm.
a band. That's just such a cool relationship that you guys have with him. How do you feel about that?
Um, well, our relationship's funny because we originally met when he was a teacher at a high school, and they used to put on these big performances near the end of the year. And like, I think one year he got Creepshow and he got Planet Smashers, and then he had messaged me to ask me to come play there by myself, but I was just like, can I bring the band? He's like, sure, whatever. So I bring the band to the school and we play the show, and then we just like hit it off completely. And so that was like, yeah, I would say back in like 2015 maybe we met. And then ever since then it's just like, it feels like we're friends first, but then we also work really well together from like a business standpoint too. So like we try to, you know, be patient with each other and just, yeah, I don't know. It's a good relationship. I can't complain.
It really looks like it from an outsider's perspective. So there's a lot of harmonies in Anti-Queens. I mean, the harmony in Leave Me Out, I think it's called. The harmonies on that are like mesmerizing. Is that a thing that you put a lot of emphasis on as a band, is the harmonies?
Yeah, I would say so. I think we're getting even more into harmonies now because we got comfortable with touring that record and playing it live. So now with the new songs coming up, like I could make harmonies for days because that's my favorite thing in the world. But we're trying to incorporate even more of like the 3-part harmonies, or even I think there's a song that Taylor's singing the second verse to herself right now. So we're hoping that Val will have a full song to herself as well. And lots of gang vocals. I really love the way that Bad Cop does their 3-part harmonies.
Yeah.
Like, they're a huge influence for me, and I know Val as well.
So Val and Taylor, are they both in bands where they're the lead singers as well? Is that why they are so vocally strong, I guess, as well?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So Taylor's, Valerie's in a band called Black Hat Attack, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Definitely.
And Taylor's in a band called the Hysterics. And then she used to be the front woman of a band called Rubella, where she would play piano and sing as well. So it's really crazy to have them both in the band, because there was a point where I would play shows with both of them in their different bands, and I'd like look up to them like, wow, they're so badass. Oh my God, they sing so good. Wow, you look so cool. And then like now we're all in the same band together. It's really funny.
That's wicked, and especially when 3 front women can also all work together, and there's no egos above anybody either. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very like even situation, and that's wicked. That's wicked that you can. That's shows friendship more than anything, you know.
For sure, yeah.
So Emily, where can people find you on social media? Where can people find your music?
My personal music. So I just got a Spotify account up. I think it's just Emily Bones on Spotify, but I'm on Instagram, Miss Emily Bones. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and then the band Anti-Queens, we've got a website with like a Shopify store where we sell like shirts, and mostly shirts. I think the records you can get on our Bandcamp, or you can get them on Stomp's website. And yeah, we're all over the social medias.
Sick. Everybody go check out Anti-Queens and go check out Emily's music. I'm definitely going to post up some links in the bio for you. So everybody go check them out. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Emily. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, okay?
You too.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you around. Bye.
Bye.